going to the darkest dark, holding our pencil in a sketch mode, and going as dark as you possibly can. Now, you may have to do several, oh, I have something on my paper. You may have to go over this several times to get it truly as dark as it needs to be. Dig in and go as dark as humanly possible with your pencil.
Okay, now this is the darkest dark. This is the lightest light. Go to the 5 in the middle and fill in that box right in the middle. So this is right in between the darkest dark and the lightest light. You want it to be halfway in between both of them. Now that's the easy part. Now we're going to go halfway between the darkest dark and the middle value, which would be about a 8 or a 7. So let's go with the 8 and go darker than the 5, but not as dark as the 10. So you want to be halfway between these two. Notice how the subtler the difference is between the values, the harder it is to tell. So you're really having to challenge your eyes and sharpen your perceptual ability with these values. When you have something that's between the 5 and the 10, then we're going to come up with the 9. Now the 9's going to be one step darker than the 8 and one step lighter than the 10. So do your best. If you can't tell any difference between the 9 and the 8, take your eraser and lift up a little bit on the 8. Or take your finger and soften and try to make the 8 just one small step, one little hiccup less than the 9.
Okay, now we're going to work between the 5 and the 8. So go one step lighter than the 8 for the 7.
When you're ready, bridge the gap between the 7 and the 5. The 6 needs to be one step darker than the 5, but lighter than the 7. Well, I can't really tell much difference between my 6 and my 7. So I'm gonna try lifting up a little bit on the 6 and going a little bit darker on the 7. All right, that's the hardest part. Now for the remaining 3, we're gonna go one step lighter than the 5. So at this point, we've been working on the dark side. Now we're moving through the values towards the light. I'm going a little bit lighter on my 5. For the 4, go one step lighter than the 5. Skip over the 3. Barely touch your pencil to the paper for the 2. Now, the last box, the 3, is just the difference between the 2 and the 4. So it's just one step in either direction. One step lighter than the 4, darker than the 2. Now, the process of creating this value scale trains your eye to be able to differentiate the values. How you use this crazy thing is when you're looking at a scene, whether you're working from a photo reference or maybe outdoors, you would hold up the value scale in relation to the scene. So it'll help you to decide, is the sun closer to a 2 or a 1? Is the tree more of a 4 or a 5 here? Let's compare it to the other values. So you use it to help compare one value to another in your composition. Now, for our subject today, since we're working with the still life,